over the ball, hammers it down. Past Megan Davids, it goes backwards off her hand. No, Matkoff is saying it's gone forward, so White will have the first opportunity through Steffy Geertsen.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who are the favourites?
It ought to be Green. They are the A side and sort of have been selected with more of an opens flavour in mind, a younger category, while the Whites are the more senior one. So it's youth against experience.
Again, a reminder that you can only have 4 male players on the field of play in the starting 8, as it is in this sport, with 4 substitutes allowable any time. But it's great we've come to the crescendo of the game. A full day's entertainment as well for everybody here in Leeds. And let's hope it's been a success bringing it to the north of England.
I think from the players I've had a chance to speak to going around today, they've all really enjoyed themselves. And it's, as we've mentioned a number of times, it's a beautiful venue, fantastic quality pitches, picturesque location, and a wonderful bar that they'll shortly be making the most of.
Yes, I know I'm biased, but it's the same in cricket where around the country every county wants to come and play in the Scarborough Festival. That's a brilliant run. There's Nick de Jong there. This is Nick de Jong, who scored 3 tries in the last game.
He's a dangerous player, GB Men's Open representative, and there's Entwistle from the mixed open side.
Tom Entwistle's impressed me as well. He's a well-built player, I'll put it very politely, but he's an impact player, as is de Jong. Is he there this time?
Here's the first score of the game, a 1-pointer, nowhere near the box, but that's all South London Seals Green needed to get themselves on the board.
I think he may be the top try scorer of the day.
That wouldn't surprise me if de Jong is.
Let's go, guys.
He's got great awareness, hasn't he? He's got that ability to look around, looks over to his left shoulder, looks over his right shoulder, knows he's got the pace to get there.
Yeah, like all the best players, just seems to have so much time to do that.
Yeah, it all sounds curious to observers who don't understand sport, but that timeless aspect is something that you can't teach, really. Some people just have more time. It's all down to awareness. And they're very much on top again here now. The Greens, you said that they were probably expected to win this against what you call their second string. No try as yet. Played back, played across, right to left movement, slick handling as well.
Entwistle calling his sister round behind him for the loop. The ball ends up going dead. And Fanin enthusiastically running it out to the 10-metre line for the tap and dodges past Freya, but caught by Tom.
Yeah, another 20-minute final. That's good play. Excellent combination play there.
These
involving Steffy Geertsen.
These South London Seals White, they will not want age to count against them. They will not see that as an excuse for the Greens to take the crown.
There's a lovely lob pass there from Ronan Farrell. Here we come. Just 10 yards away, maybe. These are the most important 10 yards, though. So that one and only line.
Yeah, it is the most important. And some teams, John, they just find the last 10 metres that bit harder to score, and they can scythe through from distance, but when they get close, suddenly that job becomes even harder.
It's an art. It really is. Opportunity to run the ball away. And some deft handling here as well. You've got to get a feel for the ball. It's not a particularly cold day, thankfully. We've all played sport on horribly cold days where to fumble the ball is very natural.
Oh, Ampaw with the break.
Yeah.
Flicks it across.
Super skills we talk about. And it was Dan Ampaw who's got them halfway up the field. In hand again, Ampaw.
Here's Lampkin, a key signing for South London this year. Previously has represented the Thames Valley Titans.
Yeah, very live runner. Jinx this way and that, and very elusive.
He's got real speed to burn. Entwistle to Milford. Darts back in the hands of Entwistle and Ampaw. Two middles on this side. Lampkin spills it backwards, regathers. It's play on. He goes for the kick.
Yeah, had to juggle with it initially. I can imagine, you know, some African nations taking to this sport.
Yeah, well, South Africa are one of the 5 members of the International Tag Federation Board, along with Great Britain, Ireland, Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, well, I've been to various parts of Africa, and they are very keen on their sport, whatever it is. Desperate to win at the world stage of anything. Ampaw's at the heart of everything at the moment.
Yeah, he's a key component in this South London mixed side, a key component in the Great Britain mixed side as well, where he is the head coach and a player in that team too. But it's the Whites that take over now. Farrell to Hodgson-Tuck. We've not seen much of him yet so far in this game, but he is a big game player. Loves the final.
Yeah, of course, South London involved in every category here, and it was good to see Yorkshire involved in every category too.
It was, yeah. The 2 regions between them, putting in more teams across the categories than anyone else.
Having said that, I think it's been great to see teams representing the likes of Bristol and Coventry and Warwickshire here as well today.
Tag 5, 5th and final.
Yes, it's wonderful to be able to bring together the different tri-tag rugby regions, and hopefully over the years to come we'll just have more and more joining the competition and joining the party, vying for tag national supremacy.
We are talking here about greens and whites, because I don't think I've ever commentated before on the final which involved 2 teams with the same name, basically, South London. But that is how we distinguish them. The Greens obviously in possession right now with Ampaw.
2. All the way, boys, all the way. Keep coming, keep coming. Look where I'm 11. 11, make it back.
Entwistle goes for the kick and caught, catches White on the turn. Kirsty Clarke on the wing, not quite able to gather that ball. And a bit of discussion here between the referee and touch judge as to whose ball that will be.
Well, there are several decisions for a referee to make here. And who's got the advantage? Who is to blame? Is there any offence committed? They have a lot on their minds.
They do, and it's interesting. The people, spectators and players alike that you find question referees the most, they're the ones that are least keen to give it a go. Don't want to be shown that actually it's not that easy to referee a game when everyone is relying on you to make the correct decision.
Well, I've often said who'd be a referee, and yet I shouldn't say that really, because where would we be without referees? We've got to have them.
We absolutely do. Ronan Farrell so nearly finding Rocio Garcia on the left-hand side, and one of the best chances the Whites have had so far, but they will have the ball again. Farrell was tagged before the pass. Hodgson-Tuck shifts play back to the left-hand side. Caught in possession by Lampkin, though, and we'll have the changeover.
Guys, Flo, leave the ball. It's now a penalty. Go, leave the ball. Penalty now.
Yeah, it is the Greens who have the advantage by that single point scored so far by Jonge. And this is De Jong again, and he has that ability again. He raking run from him. Whenever he's got the ball in hand, you feel something's about to happen.
Yeah, just one of those players, but not the only of that ilk in this green side for South London. And on the ball again, and yet another chance. It's a late tag on Ridler, though, so Greens will have the actually Freya Entwistle, sorry. Greens will have the penalty, and 6 more tags.
Yeah, big chance from here. The Whites desperate to hold out. Forward pass, I think, from Tom Entwistle.
Yep. So let off for the Whites, and I think actually they can be pleased to still be just a point behind. They absolutely deserve to be a point behind, but some may have expected before the game began that the Greens would run away with this a bit. That has not been the case at all. It's Billy Lyons taking the ball over to the far side and nearly up to halfway.
Well, I suppose the Whites will say they have a point to prove.
They will indeed. And I'll tell you what, as I get older year on year, I side with that point of view more and more.
Lovely play here, and the The attempted switch didn't quite come off. Nothing wrong with the idea that Kirsty Clarke couldn't hold on to the ball. So the Greens will still have a chance to repel another move forward from the Whites.
Here, Matkoff calling last play of the half. We're not going to have a break, but we will have a change of direction.
Oh, just couldn't hold on, which is a great shame there for Billy Lyons.
But it was that man again involved, Nick de Jong. This time defensively, we've seen so much of him going forwards, but making a tag where it counted there.
No, Tom, we need to go Coxton on. Coxton on. There's no half, it's just straight on.
Yeah, we're exactly halfway through this final in the mixed competition here, with the South London Greens leading by 1 point to 0 against the South London Whites. Hence SLG and SLW.
And it will be Greens to kick off. Ampaw goes for the short one.
Oh,
De Jong gathers.
It was De Jong, and still De Jong. Oh, absolutely stunning. Stunning from De Jong. He's my man of the day.
I was just about to say, John, I think that was my try of the day. Wonderful kick from Ampaw. Perfectly weighted. It has to go 10 metres before anyone touches it. It did exactly that before De Jong gathers. He twists his way through 1, 2, 3 defenders before dotting that ball down just inside the bonus box for the 2-point score and the 3-point lead. And then Ampaw with a completely different style of kick this time, hammering it down into White's territory and over the 10-metre marker. That's a 50-10. It will be green ball again. So having extended their lead out to 3, they will have the opportunity to add even more to it.
Yeah, good variation there, good tactics paying off. And maybe just getting the taste for victory here. They are in the ascendancy at the moment. There wasn't much time during the break for the coach to have an influence.
No, just one necessitated by the earlier setting sun, so it's just a change of direction. Coaches, not much they can do once the game's begun. And many of the coaches are in fact players themselves, so having to sort of shift to a senior role on the pitch.
Ronan Farrell's just come on for the Whites. We've emphasised during the course of the day that substitutions are allowable at any time, and no surprise, 1 or 2 people limping, walking away, trudging, some of them. It's been a hard day.
Yeah, everyone here has put a real shift in to play through the
Oh,
pools.
De Jong got the ball away. No score this time, but it may not be long delayed. The longer pass from right to left, 2 longer passes as well. Surely they may open them up here. Oh, couldn't take the final ball. Opportunity gone begging there for the Greens to cement their place. Megan Davids had the opportunity. Just couldn't take that final pass. Easy game from here.
Yeah, with 7.5 minutes to play, there's certainly time for the Whites to come back as the rain begins to come down.
Thank you.
Lightning does strike twice for these two sides in the final.
Thank goodness it didn't come down at 11:15 this morning.
Yes, I think we're all very glad of that. Players, spectators, coaches, commentators.
Yes, there was a rather tired contribution there as well from the Whites, from the player who's only just come on as well. Ronan Farrell looks a bit confused, and the Greens are very much in the ascendancy. It feels that they're just putting their foot on the accelerator.
Yes, I think now they've got that bit of a more comfortable margin now. Play with some more freedom. Freedom often brings with it creativity and scores.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of scores throughout the course of the day. We've had our favourite tries, as you said a moment ago, and I think Nick de Jong has provided 2 or 3 of them. I enjoyed George Hargreaves' contribution earlier in the day as well. He's a man who plunders his fair share.
Yeah, he got us off to a great start. We've seen some good ones from Reece Walker in the men's open final, from Poppy Love for West London as well. We will be releasing another top 10 tries package on our social media, on TriTag Rugby social media, across Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter.
Yes, and no matter who you support, there have been good moments today for Manchester, for Bristol, for Yorkshire, for Warwickshire and Coventry and Warwickshire as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that we hope that all of the regions will have made the kind of progress that they want. It's not just about getting to the final and lifting that shield. You know, if you've come to a tournament for the first time and you're actually able to pick up some wins in the pool stage and reach the knockouts for the first time, that can be just as big an achievement for a region as getting all the way to the big dance.
This is Ampaw, goes all the way.
Fifth tag, just short of the line, well taken by Geertsen.
Yeah, I'll say Ampaw deserves a score of his own.
Simultaneous, tag 6, turnover.
Tags all over the place.
Back to the orange.
So Whites hold out one more time.
Winger good.
They do, and try to get a relieving run going
Good.
through Steffy Geertsen.
Simultaneous, play on. Balls away.
And they've got the ball over to that far side, so they've managed to make 20 yards of progress here, which was good, but that's a bit sloppy.
Guys, you play on the ball with only one
Angus
tag
Lawson
on,
just
it's
not
tag
able
one
to
here.
hold on to it.
5 minutes to
Take
go.
out the ball, then.
3 points the difference. That's very respectable from the Whites' perspective.
2. Back on the orange.
Competed well, and I suppose all of these players will be returning south tonight. One or two, of course, from around this part of the world who don't have very far to go, but the majority have a long way to go.
I think, to be honest with tag players, John, most of them will have prioritised the party and have booked themselves into the various hotels across Leeds to be able to make the most of that. And, of course, a huge number will be involved at the Great Britain training session tomorrow here at West Park.
Yeah, sadly, commentators can't always do that. It's Burnley versus Newcastle United for moi tomorrow. Different sports, but just as enticing. We're 4 minutes away from the final whistle here on the inaugural competition staged in this part of the world.
Touch there, guys. Bring it in 10, roll orange. Where Lucy is.
So it's going to be Greens taking over after that White attack made huge amounts of ground, got them well into the green territory, but ultimately the kick through from Hodgson-Tuck found its way into touch, and Ampaw now stands over the ball.
Well, 3-0 good enough for the team in green at the moment.
Yeah, Snowdon.
Hard to see them, yeah, and it's hard to see them releasing their grip on the shield.
Yeah, well, they've been here, done that before, this South London side. Champions for the last few years in mixed. Only the first year of the competition, when we just had a mixed category, it was won by East London.
And they know how to slow a game down and then to play in bursts like that one there.
They do, exactly. So
clever kick through, races on. And no score. Not quite. Maybe any second now. Maybe not.
Mantell just spills it forwards, and every time you think that the Greens are going to put this game to bed, Whites just hold out. And wouldn't it be something if they get a score now to bring them back into the game, to get on the board? And of course, this being mixed, a female try scored inside the bonus box would be worth 3 points. So the toss of a coin and it could all be tied up, and we could be headed to overtime.
Well, we had a dramatic finish to the men's final. Are we going to get a dramatic finish to the mixed final as well? If it's going to happen, it's got to happen in the next 2 minutes. But here is the break. Perfectly timed, and the ball is good inside as well. Just tagged.
Snowdon was so calm there in the sweeper roll, picking it up, stepping her defender, and making a good 40 metres downfield.
Yeah, Anita Snowdon, and still looking good for the team in green. 3 points is the difference with 90 seconds remaining. That is all. That is how close they are to claiming victory in this final. This could put the seal on it, and it's a super score if the referee gives the try, and he does. Rich Milford, and that surely is going to be good enough. It's a 4-point advantage now as we move into the last minute of the mixed final.
Yeah, that continues an exciting year for Rich Milford on the tag field. He got his first ever selection in the Great Britain training squads back in March, and now has potentially scored surely scored the try that puts this final to bed and means the Greens will keep the crown Ampaw with another great kick off, and it goes dead. The hooter wasn't the best of the hooters we saw today, but it has gone off, and centralised timing means that will be the end of the game. Matcock blows for it, ends 4-0 here to South London Seals green over South London Seals white.
Yeah, the Seals are leaping, 4 points to 0, and an emphatic scoreline. We've had a lot of emphatic scorelines today. We've had some matches to savour, some really enjoyable sport. My first opportunity to watch it, and thank you very much for the opportunity to do so. Thoroughly enjoyable Saturday afternoon here in West Yorkshire, and we've seen some outstanding play, and here are just some of the points from this match taken at the end by the South London Greens.
Yeah, so it was that man De Jong that you were talking about as he ran onto the pitch, John, and he made sure your hype was worth it. A well-taken score in the first half, and then a beautiful darting, jinking run after he picked up Ampaw's kickoff to score in the bonus box, extend the lead to 3. And now here we see the one that finished things off. Rich Milford just evading 2 attempted tags before touching down in the corner and sealing it for the Seals, 4-0.
So that's almost the end of the day's entertainment, but we do have the presentation of the Shield to come. And it's been great mixing with so many people who know their sport. And that's the beauty about it for me, is that there's a passion here. And it's your passion.
Yes, absolutely is, John. Whatever sport it might be, I think we're all of us here bonded by a love of competition and socialising and having fun on the pitch and off it. It's been a pleasure to have you joining us, and you've been saying that you've enjoyed the tag that's been on offer through the day. I hope that's enough to bring you back.
Well, given the opportunity, absolutely. Just try hard to keep me away now. As you said before, we just love our sport, don't we? We're very fortunate to be able to witness it, and to witness you can recognise good players even when you don't particularly know the sport. It's amazing, something that's always entranced me as that. I remember Franz Klammer. He was easily the best skier. Torvill and Dean, I've done ice skating. You only had to watch them on the ice to know they were better than anybody else. Without knowing the sport particularly, you recognise talent.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's been buckets of it on display throughout the games we've seen on this Pitch 1 today. Hopefully there'll be many of you who've followed us throughout the day and will be keen to watch the replays when they go up on our Facebook and our Instagram, and also the Our League replays next week. And a beautiful display here from the 2 South London sides. They come together to celebrate white and green behind the Tag Nationals logo. They'll shortly be given a shield, they'll be given a Prosecco, and the celebrations can begin. But a beautiful moment showing that in this tournament it really is a case of the regions supporting all their different teams. It's not one team over another, it's about the region itself.
I'll just take it one step further before we sign off, Will. You are also the Great Britain Programme Director. How big a step is today along those lines?
It's huge to see the standard of play that we've had on offer today, and you think about the fact that we've got Great Britain players spread through these squads, many in this side here. Anita Snowdon with her hands on the shield, one of them. But you think if you then combine all of that excellence into our 6 GB side, soon to be 7, hopefully, with the addition of a GB men's 40s following the inaugural running of the category in this tournament. The national side truly can achieve great things, and so we look ahead to our 2 tournaments this year. We've got the International Tag Series, the inaugural ones of those, in Limerick at the start of August, and we'll follow that up on home ground here at West Park with the British and Irish Cup on the 3rd and 4th of September.
Thank you very much, Will. We've had great entertainment, and of course the Londoners in particular are celebrating in the men's 40.